Hey everyone, and all be all here, and we're back after a week for some more GAC action. Pretty excited about this particular video. Before we jump into the GAC match itself, I want to give a brief update about my 5v5 GL counter guide. I'd updated this guide about a couple of months ago, but tons has happened since then. Starkiller is out. A lot of Omicrons have become irrelevant, like Qui-Gon Jinn, and more Omicrons have become more relevant, like Wampa. So I've updated this particular guide, given a link to it down below in this video as well as my original video, and you'll also find a high-def version of this guide in the Gambit server under the resources section in the counter guide channel. So feel free to check it out. I won't go through it in detail. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, but feel free to check it out in the link below. All right, let's head over to our GAC video for today. Now, the last video I updated was about a week ago, and tons has changed in my roster since then. So I wanted to give you guys a brief update of what has changed. Pretty exciting developments. So first and foremost, I've got Starkiller now. Managed to get him unlocked. Pretty excited about that. So he was unlocked as of the beginning of this week, but I did not have the unique Omicron on him. Now I have applied the unique Omicron, but at the beginning of this week it wasn't. So for the full duration of this week, I just kept him on defense, made him my opponent's problem. But starting next week, I think I'm going to try some interesting stuff with him. I think the most useful use of Starkiller on offense is taking down Rey. So I'll try a few things out and probably make a little bit of a guide on how to take down Rey using Starkiller. So pretty excited about that. And next update on my roster is I have Mace with all the different Zetas, all three Zetas on him. Pretty excited about him as well. He'll make a pretty decent addition to either the Starkiller team or to Qui-Gon Jinn. Some of his abilities we'll be able to test as we get into next week. I didn't have any of the abilities obviously updated as of this week, just because we were all locked in. But pretty excited about testing this guy out as well. I haven't given him any more relic levels. He's still at relic 3, but depending on how he performs in the next week, I might decide to bump up a couple of relic levels. As of now, I'm just modding him for health with I think a little bit of offense, but yeah, mostly just health and survivability, I guess. And then some other stuff. My visas previously was G12. I got her up to G13 now with relic level 3 on her, modded for health, just because I plan to use her much more now with Starkiller. Unfortunately, there's really no other good unaligned light forced user. So, Visas is probably the only option you have over here. And she does a decently okay job, I guess, with the revives and all of that, at least on offense. So, that's my plan for her. So that's another development on my roster. And then I also have Javas. You can see over here I'm working on my Java engineer, but the rest of my Javas, I decided to get them up to gear 11. Plan to use them with Paris a little more often. That's my plan with them. Also, in terms of ship, I got the Conquest ship unlocked, as almost I think everyone since Conquest ended today. The Interceptor, the TIE Interceptor, that's going to be an interesting ship to play around with as well. I've experimented a bit in the arena. I think it's definitely got more promise against negotiator fleets versus executive fleets, but I'll most likely keep it on offense and keep my negotiator on defense starting next week. But more on that to come next week. Be on the lookout for another Aquilon video, Interceptor video. And the last and biggest change that I made was to the Wampa. Now, I had recommended in my previous video to mod the Wampa for health and potency. I think more important than potency is tenacity. As we've seen more Wampa gameplay video this week, it's becoming more and more apparent that Wampa, the biggest bang for the buck that you can get with the Wampa is taking him against Iden teams. And these days, more and more people are modding their Iden for potency, primarily to prevent a Wampa counter. Because if your Iden has enough potency and a Wampa is getting stunned in the very first attack before he has a chance to build up his stacking tenacity, then it's a sure loss. But if you have enough tenacity in there, and I've got my Wampa at 114% tenacity, which means about a 200 and 15% tenacity after the 100% tenacity bonus. Then if you can resist the stun initially, then you can roll over any Iden team, no problem at all, because it's the initial bit that you have to survive some amount of tenacity. But once you do that, then it's pretty smooth sailing going forward. So I would say between 100 to 150% tenacity plus the 100% that you have, that is a comfortable amount to take care of even the most potency modded Idens. Initially I had him up around 115k health. I think about 100k health is more than enough. He's almost never in danger of falling into red or yellow health. So 100k health is more than enough to have a decent buffer of protection up. The rest of the stats really don't matter. 200 to 220 speed is great. You don't need anything more than that, and you really don't need potency anyway. I'd initially thought of potency because I thought it might be useful to apply healing immunity against Sith Eternal Emperor teams, but I think tenacity is way more important to survive that initial resist the initial bit of debuffs. All right, so let's move over now to the match for today. And so this is the third week, and I have let me give you a brief overview of my first couple of matches. I lost 1-1-1 this week. In my first battle, that was against Daniel Deloroy, and this one, what I decided to do was I decided to play an efficiency game, which is really not my style. As you know, as you guys know, I prefer to go defense heavy, keep a ton of GLs on defense. But in this particular match, I just kept one GL on defense. I thought I'll outwit my opponent in terms of efficiency because my opponent likes to go efficiency heavy as well. And I lost out by about 20 banners or so. Less than that, actually, 13 banners, just because I'm not used to playing the efficiency game and it's not my style. So this was a loss. The next one against RM Loka, I decided to revert back to my original style of playing, which is defense heavy. And I went with 5 GLs on defense and managed to beat my opponent by about 70 banners. This was a much better match. I was more comfortable. I was more in my element using off-meta counters against GLs and using placing almost all of my GLs on defense. So my current opponent, this is the third and final match for this week. My current opponent is a guy called Weir from RH. I can't pronounce that, some delta letters. And then he's got some pretty decent lifetime banners, 1064, pretty close to the lifetime banners that I have. About the same GP as me, and has reached Kaiba 174 before, so it really knows how to play well. Pretty decent player. Does have a 6-star executor though, but that doesn't make a difference to me. I'm still going to keep my executor on defense. And let's go ahead and see the match. Now, my opponent usually keeps about 3 to 4 GLs on defense, so I decided to go GL heavy on defense as well. And what I did was, my opponent usually prefers to take Sith Eternal against JMK. He usually keeps both JMK and Lord Vader on defense. And he prefers to take Sith Eternal against JMK. So what I did was I kept my JMK at the back and kept my Rey up front to draw out the Sith Eternal, so that my opponent is going to struggle on the JMK squad. So there's my Jedi Master Kenobi at the back, and in the front are 2 GLs. There's the Rey as well as the my own Sith Eternal team with Malak in there. And at the back, I've kept my Starkiller. No Omicron on over here, so it's a relatively easy team to take out. I felt he'll be more used for me on defense than on offense because I wasn't planning to use him anywhere on offense over here. And then up top is really nothing much, just some pretty weak teams. I've got Treya in there, Mon Mothma, and a Dash team. And I've kept Embo in there just because of his counter chance. Can maybe steal a few banners here and there. And then at the back, I've kept both my Empire fleet. Starting next week, my Empire fleet is going to be on offense. One of the other changes that I made was I got my Guard Saxon and Imperial Super Commander out to about G11 each. And I've got their ship up to 150 speed, which means with the 50 bonus that you get in an Empire fleet, in the starting lineup, my guard ship is going to be about 200 speed, which is enough to outspeed all negotiator fleets, with the exception of if fives is in there. So I'll probably make another video on how to use the interceptor with the TIE Advanced as well as the Gauntlet in the starting lineup. Interceptor in the as the first reinforcement. I think it's got a lot of promise on offense. So that's look out for that video as well. All right, let's go and check out my opponent's battles or his defense. Now my opponent has kept his JMK up top, blocking ships, and the rest of the teams are not really that interesting. Nothing too tough up there apart from the JMK. But if you notice over here, his JMK is without cat. That's with Padme and R2D2 and GK. There's no cat in there, which is I personally feel it's a big mistake because without cat he can be easily one shot with gas. And what he's done with his cat is he's kept his cat down south with Rey. Down south, he's got 4 more GLs. So 1 GL up top, 4 GLs down south. So the very first time that my opponent is going 5 GLs on defense, which is pretty impressive, pretty bold move. 5 GLs on defense and 1 on top, 4 at the bottom. So I think my opponent is hoping that I don't clear the bottom zone. And he's kept Rey with Cat and Vandor and Barris and L3, which is a tough comp usually for Rey Mirror as well as for JML to take out. But I've got some plans for it. And then he's also got his Lord Vader, he's kept his SLKR, and he has the JML squad over there as well with Jolie in there to make things slightly tricky. So we only have 3 GLs on offense, and we need to take out 5 GLs. So we'll need to plan accordingly. At least one of the teams over here has to be handled without a GL because JMK up north, I can use gas versus it. I can use my 3 GLs against 3 of these GLs over here. I decide to go against the JML first. JML can typically be taken out if you've got decent RNG. Typically can be taken out with General Grievous. So that's my plan over here. I'm going to take in my General Grievous against the JML squad. Okay, now starts with a flux. Luckily, my my B2 did not get ability block, so I was able to dispel some of those debuffs. Now, unfortunately, because of Cam in there, he's done so much of damage that really early in the battle, within the first 15 seconds, I lost my Magna Guard. And this counter doesn't really go well if you lose your Magna Guard. You need your Magna Guard to be taunting, and you need to keep healing him up in order to protect B2 from damage. Because what happens is if Magna Guard takes all the heat, B2 keeps getting triggered, and that allows him to keep spamming his buff dispel ability and applying target locks on everyone and giving everyone turn meter. Now, unfortunately, Magna Guard is gone, so that makes this battle even more dicey. What you need to do is you need to spread target lock as much as you can. And right now, I just have target lock on a couple of characters, which is not great. And given that my B2 is the healthiest droid, he's the one who's tanking, and unfortunately he had to eat it, and I've got nothing else to dispel the buffs from my enemy, and I've got nothing else to basically act as a turn meter interrupter, because that's the big advantage from B2 is he acts as a turn meter interrupter, and anytime your team gets attacked, he gets a turn and he manages to give your whole team turn meter, and the whole thing generates just like that. But unfortunately, that's not the case. I do manage to land a couple of times extortion on the Jedi Master Luke, which means that I am able to get him down to yellow health. But I need to work fast because he's reaching his ultimate right now. And with that, he's reached his ultimate. My Grievous is gone, and I am in big trouble. I did take care of the enemy mace team, the enemy mace, but there's still 4 characters remaining on the board. Jolie is still on the board, and Jedi Master Luke is still on the board, along with the 2 damage dealers GMY and Cam. So I need to think about something relatively cheap to clean this up. Luckily, JML is one of the easier GLs to clean up compared to the others. But we'll handle that later. Let's take care of the other tough battle, which is going to be Cat with Rey in there. Now, Cap with Ray, especially with the scoundrels like L3 and L3 and Vandor in there, there's tons of revives up there, and you need to make sure that you attack Vandor first, and it's difficult to get to Vandor, especially if L3 is taunting all the time. So what you need to do is you need to either go around taunt using JKR, for example, to directly mark Vandor or Cat, or you need to uh, take someone who prevents revives, like SLKR. Now, typically, this is you don't have to worry about Vandor's revives over here, but you need to act fast to get to your ultimate because these guys heal a ton, especially with Barris in there. These guys heal so much that it's really difficult to get Cat down. You can see over here, I've been trying to attack Cat, and because of Barris in there, these guys are critting and they're not dropping below any health at all. So, tough situation to be in. So I'm trying to control the situation, stun as many people as I can, and I decide to go into my ultimate right now. Oh no, I decide to stun one more. Yep, so I go into my ultimate immediately after Ray comes out of her ultimate, and this has to be timed properly because I have a solo SLKR over here, and they still have all 5 characters on board over here. So I need to do what I can to take out Barris so that the other characters are easier to get rid of. Was able to absorb a couple of whirlwinds. L3 is out, which is great. No more taunt. And now I need to take care of Barris so that she doesn't heal everyone anymore. Do one big swipe on Zadis, take her out, heal up a little bit, and now she managed to land her big hit on me, and I decided to go into ultimate. Even though I was only at 80%, which is just enough for 2 stacks, I did go into my ultimate and saved myself from a rare whirlwind because I'm alone. I'm definitely not going to survive, and managed to do that and then take Vandor out in the very next turn. And now I'm in a much different situation. Being alone one-on-one with Ray is a much easier situation to be in, and especially with all the mastery that I've stacked up, I managed to get through the Ray and end with 52 banners. So not the best banners, but I felt that SLKR, especially with the preventing revive situation, does a much better job than JML in taking that particular squad out. And really, the only other GL I had was Lord Vader, and I wasn't sure that Lord Vader would be able to take that particular squad out of Rey before they do enough damage to take to pick apart my team. So I felt SLKR was the best option there. All right, let's move over to the next battle, which is the cleanup of the JML. I decided to take in my CLS in there because JML was at very low health, so I felt I could be able to snipe him. But given that Jolie is his turn meter is low, and he might revive Jedi Master Luke if I decide to take him out, I decide to go after Jolie first and take him out because that'll be critical to prevent revives. My CLS is gone, unfortunately, but I still have my main damage dealers out here. And with this, I should be able to take out Jedi Master Luke, do a big AoE, and with huge damage from Han, with the assist from Chewie's, I was able to take JML out, which was actually a pretty decent outcome. I would have been happy to just time out with JML out if Jolie was still alive, but good thing I managed to take out Jolie first. Then the rest of the team just fell apart pretty easily. So CLS is great for a cleanup for multiple GLs just because of the great burst damage that they have. All right, then I decided to take my standard Jedi Master Luke Watt combo against Lord Vader. This is the version with Lord Vader, Maul, Thrawn, and Royal Guard. This particular team can be too short as well. What a lot of people like to do is like to take in either bounty hunters. That's beginning to become a very common counter against this particular squad. Fennec lead with Grief in there to cleanse all the debuffs and to get the contract almost immediately. That at least gets you down to solo Lord Vader, even if you're not able to take him down, and then you can multi-shot him. The other thing that people are doing that you can do to take out this particular comp of Lord Vader is you can take in Bad Batch and using just pure Bad Batch, no other characters, you can very easily get the side characters down just because you do true damage based on the defense up that you get, and then after that you should be able to um, if you won't be able to kill Lone Vader with Bad Batch. So once you take the four side characters out, then you can follow it up with Bounty Hunters and take Vader out. So a lot of different ways to really get through the Vader squad, even if you don't have a GL of your own. But in this particular case, since I had a GL, I wanted to make sure that I one-shot everything. I didn't think there would be anything tough at the back, so decided to take my own GL against that. So he's reached his ultimate. I believe this is the first ultimate that he's reached. And we need to take out Thrawn as well as Maul before we can start focusing down on Vader. Lost my Watt, but that's not a big deal. As long as I have my Jedi in there, at least a couple of Jedi, I think it'll be a decent job to clean up. Lost my Shakti as well, which again is unfortunate, but I've got my main damage dealer, I've got my healer. That's all you need to take care of Lone Vader. In fact, I've had situations where I've only had Jedi Master Luke and Hoda in there surviving, and both of them were able to take out. They were able to 2v5 Lord Vader's squad just because of the going back and forth with the lead ability. So yeah, with 3 Jedi in there, it shouldn't be much of a problem cleaning this particular team up. All right, so decide to take out Maul, and then when it's only Vader left, then I keep using the middle ability for Jedi Master Luke, which increases Vader's cooldowns as well as applies Tenacity Down. And Tenacity Down is really useful, especially for landing the debuffs like Ability Block and the rest of it. And then once it's your Vader has got Ability Block and Tenacity Down, you can just keep increasing his cooldowns. You can keep doing damage, keep using the special lead ability from Jedi Master Luke, and then he'll be down in no time. There's really no danger of timing out. I've got like a couple of minutes left. So I'll probably for next week I'll probably practice my Fennec counter a little more. It's supposed to be pretty smooth. Even if it's preferable to have an R7 Fennec in there. It just gives you so much flexibility if you're able to take out a Lord Vader squad with bounty hunters. It just gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility. All right, and then for the final squad, I decided to take in my Lord Vader versus SLKR. Now this one actually is a reverse of what people usually do, which is take SLKR versus Vader. But I had a GL left. I felt that SLKR, the Vader will be able to do a decent job against the SLKR. But you can see over here, I've made a few critical mistakes. Biggest one being going into Ultimate. Now, the way it works over here is SLKR, what happens in this team is SLKR keeps gaining mastery and Vader keeps losing mastery. And there comes a point of time that, you won't be able to get enough damage done. So that was a big mistake that I made. What I should have done is not done the ultimate at all until Lord Vader was the only person remaining behind. So this is what is happening. SLKR is siphoning mastery from all stunt characters, and every time he uses his swipe ability, he's siphoning mastery from my characters, double for stunt characters. And when I do my ultimate with Lord Vader, he takes the mastery from his allies. And in the case where these guys get my 2 tanks, when they get negative mastery, what ends up happening is I siphon that negative mastery and end up losing my mastery on Lord Vader. And that's a big problem because it means that you end up not doing any damage at all. So the way that you play it is basically you have to avoid doing your ultimate. If you're taking Lord Vader against SLKR, just don't do your ultimate at all until Vader is the only guy remaining behind. So you see over here, I did my ultimate, and all of the siphoning of mastery that has happened on Royal Guard means that my Vader now takes all of that stuff. Because by himself, SLKR is not able to siphon off mastery from a GL. but he's able to do that fine with the rest of the characters. So I'm trying to take this team down, but you can see over here my Vader is doing very little damage. He's not even able to take out the crew. You can see he's just doing 10k damage on the crew, which is really not much of a big deal at all. Again, more siphoning of the mastery from Kylo Ren, and crew is just healing by himself. At least the other characters, they can die to dots, but crew is immune to dots as well, so there's really no way to get him down. So you can see over here with this, I'm able to take out all the characters except for SLKR and crew. And now I've even lost Vader. But you can see over here, I'm making no headway against either SLKR or crew. There's just no damage out there. And look at that, plenty of stacking mastery deduction from Royal Guard. I mean, he was good for absorbing the stuns and the healing immunity and all of that, but I think I would have been fine if I had not done the ultimate. Now here you see I did the ultimate again, another big mistake. So twice I've done the ultimate and absorbed negative mastery. And you can see my Lord Vader, instead of hitting for 50, 60k on that special, he was hitting for 6k, which is really pathetic. And yeah, really, really, really low damage. So anyway, lesson learned for next time. I mean, if I decide to take Lord Vader against SLKR, that's something that you need to be wary of. Otherwise, I do have stuff that I can use to clean up this SLKR, so it's not too costly a mistake. But it's good to know for next time. So anyway, here you can see my Vader dies pretty easily over here. Not much health steal at all because not much damage is being done. And then I take up another character in there to clean that up. All right, so let's do that. So for cleanup, I first decided to reduce some cooldowns using a few, minor characters. I thought I might be able to take crew down, but he's got too much of health, especially under SLKR. So at least managed to take down the cooldowns, and then I decided to take my Maul in there for taking out crew and potentially Lord Vader, SLKR as well. Maul is a pretty good team. I mean, they've got turn meter generation and tons of damage in the form of Maul, so should be no problem at all in taking down Maul. He does apply dots which heals up crew, but after some time, the amount of damage that Maul ends up stacking, he's able to chew through crew no problem at all. There you go, 90k hit on crew, take him out, and now just have to get through Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. And good thing is I've got Armorer in there who's extremely tanky, and she's the one who's going to be taunting all the time because she's the healthiest. That's the way I've built her. You can see over here, one big hit from Kylo Ren, and Armorer is barely scratched. Another big stun from Kylo, SLKR, and Armorer is back to full health, and I get 632 banners, which is essentially max banners for a third shot cleanup. So thinking about it, maybe I should have taken Maul in with my original Lord Vader team to start with. That would have been no problem at all. If I had my Maul over there, I would have been able to get rid of a lot of the side characters for SLKR right at the beginning, prevented him from going into his ultimate so fast. And also, I would have taken out all the characters early, and then the damage from Maul would have been able to take care of SLKR no problem at all. So that was a big mistake. I ended up using Maul anyway to clean him up. So maybe Maul with my with my Lord Vader initially would have been would have been the way to go. So as I predicted over here, no real good teams at the back. So pretty easy job cleaning up the back. So I decided to go ahead and clean up the teams at the top. The next best option is the Wampa. It's a pretty clear option against Iden. This wasn't a really great Iden team. I think all the other troopers were R5 plus. Iden herself was about G11. But you can see over here, there's really no danger to Wampa at all. He's not even dropping out of protection right now. So pretty easy 68 with the Wampa on Iden. And I've seen tougher teams, take care of that particular team as well. All right. Now, against the JMK, I decided to take in gas. As long as there's no cat in there, this is an extremely easy and reliable counter. 100% success rate against JMK. The constant stuns from R2D2 really pose a little bit of irritation and problem, but it's really not much of a big deal. This team generates so much of protection and so much of buffs that the damage on the gas team really ramps up to insane levels. And the best part about gas is once the JMK team reaches ultimate, they completely ignore gas and they go for all the characters around him, which is great for my gas. But as you can see over here, a lot of my characters are stunned, so I'm not liking that. The fact that R2D2 is able to get in there and prevent my characters from going. It's not ideal because my gas is not countering back, and I don't like it at all. So yeah, the presence of R2D2 does put in some amount of wrinkle in there, and now my Rex is stunned as well, and he's the guy who gives tenacity up. So I need my Rex to go ASAP so that I can apply some tenacity up and prevent all these stuns from happening. Still 3 minutes left, so we are not exactly in danger, but the stuns are a little annoying. Now my gas has gone down for the first time. I check over here. There is foresight on on General Kenobi, so I can't use my Rexlate now. All right, so there's a sacrifice and a couple of stuns. And there, I think my General Kenobi is, yep. So there, he triggers the Savior because there was no foresight on him. And now look at that. Once gas is up, he's going to do tons of damage with all the buffs which are being generated on the enemy team. And he's going to be able to take them out pretty easily. Even the rest of my clones, look at that. Arc hitting for 370k. And look at that, a 250k crit by Echo, which is amazing to see. So yeah, it's just a matter of time before damage ramps up to the point that the team just won't be able to handle. So pretty easy. That's why if you decide to go with Cat on your raid team, don't put your Jedi Master Kenobi on defense. Save him for offense because he'll be able to take out some tough team, maybe even a GL on offense with the Jedi Master Kenobi, even without Cat. Now, decided to take in my Aura Bounty Hunter team versus the Dash Rendar. I do outspeed all of them, especially with Zam Omicron in there. I try to attack Bam first because otherwise, if I attack someone else and they go below health, then Bam is going to heal them up and give himself damage immunity as well. But if you attack him, then if he goes below 50% health, he just gets a bonus turn, but he ends up going into Whistling Bird stance. Only if there's another ally below 50% health does he do the damage immunity thing. So always, if I've got a clear shot to Bam, I always go after him if I'm using bounty hunters to do that. So got my contract, got rid of Dash because he's the most dangerous character out there. And then it's just a question of surviving, making sure that I pick the rest of the team off, and then waiting till I get my Mando's disintegrate ability again to take care of Nest. I don't think it's a very high tenacity Nest, but Nest is Nest. But the best way to take care of Nest is through Nihilus or Mando. Still a couple of turns, but we're doing pretty good over here so far. Yeah, if Cat was in there with the JMK team, then I would have probably used my Aura Mando to first snipe the Cat out, and then use gas on it. But without Cat, straight away gas is perfectly fine. All right, so there we go. 65 banners on that team. And then there was a Mon Mothma team down south. Not a very good Mon Mothma team. It's a G11 Kyle Katarn, G11, 12 on the others as well. But my own Iden troopers, I've used them to take out heavily relict and really well modded Mon Mothma teams as well, R5 to R7. And my whole Iden team is just G12. So especially with the Wampa Omicron coming out right now, I don't want to keep my Iden on defense. Even if you give tons of relics to the Iden team, if it can be taken out with the Wampa so easily, I don't want to invest all those relics on them. My whole Iden team is only G12 right now. I think only Show Trooper is G13, R5, R3, but the rest of the characters that you see on board right here, every single one of them is G12 with Iden G11. And this same squad is able to take out really high relic Mon Mothma squads. So my goal in the future is just leave these guys at the gear levels that they are, which is gear level 12. And maybe I'll get Iden also to gear level 12. And then I'm going to save them on offense to take them against Mon Mothma squads when I see them on defense, because this is such a hard counter. It punches so much above their weight that I don't see a point in investing anything further on this team, because this can take out all versions of Mon Mothma. All right, very easy 65 banners over there. Now let's take care of the other squads. This one is a pretty easy battle. It's a straight up Troopers versus Finn. So I will just fast forward this, because I don't think you need to. Well, actually, this battle is pretty quick, so I don't think you need to wait too much. I was hoping to see Darth Revan on defense over here. That's what my opponent usually keeps on defense, but I think he must have seen I have no problem with Darth Revan squads with my troopers, so must have saved Darth Revan on offense, and kept a few other cheaper squads on defense over here. So no other better job for troopers. So this is overkill, but it's perfectly fine. All right, now let's take a look at the ship. So he's got his executor and executrix just like me. And let's clear out the ground zones, and then we can focus on the ships up top. Again, another B squad. There's Django in there. B bounty hunters is really no tank or anything else in there, but I've still got my Bad Batch, so that's a pretty easy counter. Yeah, I mean, I could have taken Jedi Knight Revan. I could have taken my Qui-Gon Jinn team also was there, which I hadn't used at all. So tons of options on offense. And after this, I just have one team left to take out. Yep, so this one was an easy enough battle. Yeah, so apart from the 4 GLs, or the 5 GLs that my opponent kept on defense, the other teams were, I think, pretty below average, just given the fact that I think my opponent saved all the really good teams to use on offense against me, like all the CLS and GAS and Darth Revan, Bad Batch, Jedi Knight Revan, all of those A plus teams. He's used to, he saved on offense to use on off-meta counters, including even General Grievous. So that seems to be the trend more and more going forward, that a lot of people, at least in the 100 to 1,000 rank range in Kyber, they like to place at least 4 to 5 GLs on defense, and then use off-meta counters, and then the rest of the teams they'll put are weaker teams, and then they'll use off-meta counters to take out the enemy GLs. That's definitely my play style as well. I think I'm comfortable with 4 or 5 GLs on defense. All right, so character zone is done for 1333. Let's go ahead and finish the ship battle. So this is a 6-star executor, but it plays the same as a regular 7-star executor. You exactly the same order of operations. You get spy out, try to nuke down Xanadu Blood. In this case, Xanadu Blood did not get marked, so I have to take out, I would at least try to take out BAM first, Razor Crest. So I'm not doing too hot. I've lost most of my ships, and I'm wondering whether to go in with Sunfac, given that there's no Taunt, or Old Republic. I just decided to go with the Old Republic option. Probably could have done Sunfac over there because Sunfac means I would have stunned one character coming out and then focused on another character who had buffs and then stunned them too. And that puts two of the enemy ships out of commission. So that might be the better play because right now you can see over here I've taken out Razor Crest, but I wasn't able to reach the ultimate. So I might as well, there's no point in getting even Hawk. So I might as well have just gone with Sunfac. Anyway, this is a rebel cleanup. So luckily, I did see that the previous executive fleet battle, they did use the mass attack, the mass assist. So it was safe to bring in the rebels. And when I bring in the rebels, I used to start with Biston in the starting lineup, but because Biston was the weakest, I'm going to get targeted. And then, it's just as easy to start with the Wedge in there. Wedge is the weakest of these three ships when you start with Wedge, Biggs, and Han's Millennium Falcon. And the enemy ships, the executive fleet is going to target the Wedge and take him out, and allows you to save your Biston to come in later, or Cassian to come in later as you need it. Because Biston is a really valuable ship, and he can he can do a really good job. Gives tons of turn meter, protection, regeneration for your boss, for your bigs, and yeah, lots of target locks as well. So going forward, I think I'm going to be doing that, is starting with Wedge if I'm doing a cleanup and calling Biston up from behind, from the reinforcements. So they've got their mini contract, and I get to my ultimate and get rid of the protection on Houndstooth and take him out. And then it's just a question of cleaning up this final ship for 45 banners, I think. And then against the Executrix, I take in my own Galactic Republic. The way I like to do it is I like to start with 5s going up against this fleet. You start with 5s anytime that you want a specific ability to be exhausted early. So in this case, I wanted the cleansing buffs ability as well as the burning ability of TIE Bomber to be exhausted early. So I targeted the TIE Bomber with my 5s basic, gave him turn meter, so he got to go first, and then I followed it up with the rest of the characters over there. So you can see over here, as long as you play it right, it's really not that big of a deal. You should end with decent banners over here. 67. I think I lost a ship, but that's fine. I was just concerned with one-shotting the whole board. And my opponent, after I had a chance to go, my opponent did go, and they struggled on my JMK. This is not the final result, but at the end of the battle, my opponent had 2 battles against JMK at the end of the round. So I think my opponent tried to use Aura Snipe on that, and then followed up with Gas. But Aura Snipe did not work because my cat is 365 speed, and his boss was only 315 or something like that. So that's the reason why I have gone with Speed Cat. I know a lot of people are modding Cat for health. That makes the JMK counter difficult, as well as some mirror counters as well. Even the Rey counter, the Rey Jedi counter, more difficult, just because you have more health to chew through. Especially with Padme in there as well, giving additional protection. Health Cat makes that counter a little tougher. But Health Cat is really easy for bounty hunters to snipe and then Gas to follow up, because Health Cat is usually 320, 330 speed at the max. And it's very easy for bounty hunters with Zam Omicron to outspeed that and take out Cat. So my personal preference is to go with Speed Cat to prevent the bounty hunter snipe of Cat. So that really helped out for me in this particular case. And my opponent wasn't able to clear my zone, and they didn't attempt anything up top just because they knew that since I had full cleared, and if they're not going to full clear, they're going to lose anyway. So this was a final score, 1634 to 724. I was pretty happy with the result with 5 GLs on defense, but quite a lot of exciting things to look forward to next week as well. There's Starkiller I'm going to be using more on offense. There's going to be the Interceptor I'm going to be using on offense as well. and a couple of other ships. So I will catch you guys next week. Feel free to check out the latest 5v5 GL counter guide down below in the link below, and feel free to share it with your friends and guild mates as well. Until next time, I will catch you guys next week. Take care and happy gaming.